Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. Today, we're back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is our Let's Play against our friend Lodric, and we are now setting up the Dutch East Indies. I say setting up, it's pretty much all set up. Just awaiting for Japanese arrival. They're not coming over for dinner, unfortunately. They're coming for death. Gosh, did that sound dramatic or what? We've already gone around Australia, so we can jump right into it here. If we look at the bases up in Dutch New Guinea, we only had troops at Sarong. Sarong has now been taken. You can see our one submarine here trying to limp back to Pearl Harbor. I don't know that it's going to make it. It's got over 70 float damage. That usually precludes you from a long trip. Now, I would take it down to maybe Darwin or something, but these are kind of dangerous waters at this point. Now, I also had this submarine, and at the end of last episode, we moved it down here just off of Darwin. We're just going to have it sit here. And to the extent he tries to get up into the ports here, or the port at Darwin. We're going to have it sitting here with a reaction of one, and if anything gets around here, hopefully we'll get some hits in. These are the S model submarines. These two, they actually carry the Mark 10 torpedoes, so they're more lethal than what was considered the more modern, I guess, American sub that was carrying the Mark 14s, but the Mark 14s didn't work, and so the Mark 10s on these S subs, hopefully, we can catch something. We're moving a lot of stuff around to Perth. We're moving some stuff back up to Darwin. We're trying to get some stuff out of Darwin. It's kind of all going around there. But let's jump up into the Dutch East Indies and let's look at Koepang. Now, Koepang's got two fighters that are sitting here. They're running cap directly over Koepang. Now, the problem is we don't have any ships. I say the problem. I mean, we don't have any ships or anything else there. We do have some troops there, including some Australians that I had floated over here before his task forces got real busy down here. So anyway, we put them up there. It's a decent little force, but ultimately, if he lands with any kind of strong force, we're probably going to lose Kopang. Excuse me. Then we can go over here to Lawturn. Lawturn would kind of be your other major port here in Timor. This would be East Timor, I'm guessing, and this is West Timor. I don't know. I've never been there, but I've certainly heard of East Timor, and I assume, unless my directions are off, that's East Timor. At Lawturn, we have this AA, which I'd actually prefer to be at Koepang, but we don't have any ships to take it over there. We also have a base force. So, I mean, if he lands there, he's probably going to take that. Up at Ambon, we do have some patrol craft that are running up here on the south side, all the way up to the south side of Mindanao. But ultimately, I'm not sure if that's really where we want them to go. Why is that? Because ultimately, it doesn't matter what's coming down here. I mean, it's not like we're going to hold the base or anything. I'd rather know what's going on over here. And so let's change their vector. We can do that if we know our geometry. 240, we've got three planes. It's not like, we got a lot of planes out here or something. Okay, that's a little too far. So let's go up to 270 and 300 and see what that shows us. There we go. Okay, I would rather see out over here just to see if he has a major task force coming down here, one that'll eventually come to Kopang, come to Darwin. I'd rather see what's happening out this way than up this way, because if it's coming up this way, it's probably just going to land there and take over the base anyway. What difference does it make? There's nothing we can do about it. Monado, we do have what, an Assault Strike 49. It's actually a pretty decent unit. Sometimes if you're playing a less aggressive player, you can take that, get it out of Monado, put it in Makassar or Kendari. That's not going to be the case here. We don't have any transports, we do, but none that I'm going to send up here, certainly. This is just death sentence up in this direction. Let's jump around to Kendari. Now I've got these guys heading out looking this way. I guess that's okay. We can have them cover this way, and out of Ambon we'll cover that way. I could probably do it in reverse. Ultimately, it's just giving us an idea. Hey, this maybe is coming. Okay, okay. Um, Patrol planes are very, very useful when you have an ability to do something with the information you get. In this case, at Kendari and Ambon, we don't have anything we can do. It's not like we can stop him or we can all of a sudden, oh, we're going to send 6 carriers out of Kendari because we saw something out here. Ultimately, it's just kind of a voyeur pleasure here is to send them out. Hey, what's going on? All right, now we know. Now what can we do? Nothing. So, back in Ambon, by the way, we do have a ship in port, but I mean, this thing is in bad, bad shape. We could try to, and there's no fuel at Ambon. We could try, this is just a 1 point cargo ship. We could try to get it down to Darwin. Ultimately, I guess, why not? I mean, it's going to get sunk, but we know if it sits at Ambon, it's definitely dead. It doesn't have enough fuel to get anyplace else, really. But you know what? We'll just does Law Turn have any fuel? Yeah, it does. So let's put it into Law Turn. All right, and we'll have its home port be Darwin. Who knows? I mean, maybe if nothing else, maybe it'll give us some information about what task force is still hanging around here. So we'll go down here to Law Turn, fuel it up, and then eventually it can retire to Darwin. And when it gets blown out of the water out here, we'll know what makes up his task force potentially. Koapang, again, I mean, this is usually kind of your main defensiveness for the Dutch in the South before the Japanese can get to Darwin. In this case, we didn't get enough down here, and now he's just got so many things swarming around. I'd rather keep it all at Surabaya and Batavia, make those as tough a nut as they could be. Macassar, I mean, we have an infantry unit here. It's got an assault of 39. Okay. What do we have here? We have a Dutch sub that's just floating out here in the Macassar Strait. Probably doesn't even need to do that. Let's just have it sit here. Let's control or get rid of the patrol zone, and then we'll go back and we'll put it on. Wow, I couldn't find it there for a second. Remain on station. So he's just going to sit out here in the middle of the Macassar Strait. If something goes by, he can take a shot at it. I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to. Down here, Denpasar, sometimes you can build these up. Mataram is one that I know Cole's spreadsheet says take stuff to. Denpasar, we've got, excuse me, I'm glad we got here because we actually do have some Australian fighters. And if we can get these down to Darwin, that could really help. We're gonna have to buy them out, I believe, because I think they're part of 224 Group RAF, so they're part of the Brits. So we can get them all the way down here. We can go through Koapang, I believe. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll take it down to Koapang with those fighters. We've got them up at a cap of 50, maximum range of 1. I didn't want them to get blown out. That'll be great. Let's get these down to Darwin. That's actually helpful. So now they're down at Koapang. Next turn, we'll take them to Darwin. Um, they've still got 3 under maintenance. Okay. Then we have another group that has 3 and 3 under maintenance. Let's take those to Koapang as well. I also transferred them over to 224 Group RAF. So great. That's awesome. We really kind of need that, to be honest. I wish I could take these farther, but I can't. Now, a lot of times you'll leave these in Batavia. They came out of Singapore originally, but we'll put them down at Koapang. I want to make sure that's cap 50 and 1. Okay, that's all good. And then we have this group that I think actually can get all the way to Darwin. This is a group of bombers. And we'll see what the support is. Let's see. 27 hexes is their maximum range. They can get in Derby. Do how much support do I even have at Darwin? Let's go look, because we may need to bring another base force in. Darwin, nope, it's good. 56 plus 6. Uh, okay. Well, let's go back up here. We may have to fly him into Darby. Maybe that's what I'll do. All right, transfer to base. Let's go to. Oh, crud. That resorted. I hate how it does that. 36 plus 6. So if it was going to be able to get to Darwin. Oh, there. Gosh darn it. What am I blind? There's Darwin. Let's transfer that to Darwin. Okay, those are level bombers. Then we have some fighters that have a 16. These are Kiwi fighters, actually. Um, okay, let's transfer to base. How far can we get? Now, these cannot get to Darwin, but they can get down to. They could go over to Kandari, but we're going to take them into Kopang. Now, I know we're over the aviation support, but we're going to skip these. You know, they're coming piecemeal because they're still broken up. Some of these were damaged and whatnot. As you can see, it still shows the counters, but part of this is down at Kopang. Now, we'll get those into Darwin, and we'll actually, if they all make it, we'll have, 10 or 15 fighters. So that's actually wonderful. Okay, nothing else there. Didn't pass her. We've got the one base force. Nothing we can do with that. I pulled these out of Singapore originally, and we've got a base force here at Banzhou Wangi. Sure, okay. I was pulling some of this out of Pamukazan, but then his task force came by and we stopped that. But let's go get the rest of them if we can. I thought I had transports here, but they may have gotten blown out of the sky. Now, I don't remember that actually happening, but it looks like it did because I'm not seeing any transports. We could go try to pick them up with something else. Hmm, it would have to be patrol planes. I like that patrol. I like that patrol. This is a general patrol, isn't it? Or is it 6090? Oh, it's just going out this way. Let's do troop transport. Okay. Now we're gonna go select this destination. Now I got most of this all over here, but we're gonna do pick up troops, pick up from Pamukazan the rest of the Berizian nil. Okay, so they're gonna just jump out here and pick that up. That's fine. They weren't running anything very useful. And then this is just running up there. Okay, sure. Okay. So that's our aircraft. What do we have the rest of these on? We've got naval attack. I'm tempted just to do searches, but I'll keep. We've just had so little success, so I'm just going to do general naval searches with these. I think. Let's do it at a 50 level though. 50, 50. All right, I've got them down at 1,000 feet. I don't think that makes any sense. We'll take them up to 6,000 with the naval search. Hey, if they like the odds, they'll go after something. So let's put them all on naval search. Now he wants to run 30 to 90. Let's just go see what that looks like. That doesn't look great, guys. Let's have these going north. All right. Oh, it's only two planes. Well, you know. What difference does it make, really? Okay, 330. Sure. Let's have them run that search. I've got other things running a more centralized search. We do have a few fighters here, not many, and our guys here at Surabaya are just going to get absolutely raked with bombing, but not a whole lot we can do. Let's put this on a general naval search, reset arc. We'll put this on 50. We got more level bombers. I'll keep these on naval attack. Sure, why not? Let's go back to this actually. 3,000. Let's make it 8,000. Level bombers, naval attack. Okay, that's fine. Then we have all of our search planes that are going out here, there, and everywhere. Only a few fighters. We've lost a lot of fighters. Let's go look at our ground troops. Okay, we got them all in combat, defend at target. That all looks good. I'm defending Surabaya less than I'm defending Batavia. Um, that's an 016. We've got subs in here, so I'm going to go figure out what's going on here. I think what I'll do is just have them go sit right here at. Let's have them go sit right there, actually. Have them go sit right there, and we'll have them remain on station. Make sure a max react. Let's just remain on station there. So a couple of good Dutch subs. We've got that KX. That's an 016. He could go in with these guys. Sure, why not? Let's bring that KX in with them. Okay, done. And now let's put the OSs together. We'll go get OS 19. All right, so a little more wolf pack. Let's have him just come out here. Where though? Maybe. How about here? And we'll have him remain on station. And they'll just sit there and hopefully run across something. Now I've got this sub coming in. It's a KX class. It's going to come in, get refueled, get taken care of, patched up if it needs to be. This is a KX. It's only got a speed of 13 though. I'm going to take off the patrol zone. All right, back. Surubaya. I'm just going to have it remain on station and just have it sit there. It's got a max react of 1. This is coming back home. It's a KX, but it's got a lot of damage. It's crippled. It's trying to get back. I've got these three running this patrol zone. Sure. Let's just keep this patrol zone max react 1 and see what they can do. All right, so that's the subs, the Dutch subs. A lot of them had come back to Surabaya. Let's see what else is here. We have 13 ships in port. They're all these PT boats. They've got really no range. Let's do a PT boat. All right, we'll put them all in a task force. And what I really want to know is where his bigger task force is out here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get them. Now they can't go far, obviously. They can only go about 10 hexes. Does Bima have any fuel? A little bit. No. Denpasser has a little bit. Makassar, it has fuel. It has a little bit of fuel. I really want them to go to Koepang. I mean, they're all going to get blown up, which is unfortunate. It's only 19 hexes down to here, so eventually they're going to run into something, but maybe it will distract. I mean, I guess. I mean, ultimately you're going to lose them, so I could leave them here. They're just going to get bombed to smithereens at some point. I'm just going to run them down here, kind of almost like they're recon. Good luck, guys. Have a good one. I appreciate you. Uh, okay, moving up here, Samarang, we've got a base force, not a whole lot. He's just sitting here with a light cruiser and 4 TBs plus something else. We don't really know what it is. We've got level bombers on naval attack. I'm actually going to put them over on naval search. We'll pop that to a 50. Sure. And I'll just do a general search. 7. Let's keep that naval search. 50. All right. That's fine. I don't see any reason to keep sending them out on suicide missions. I mean, I would love to get lucky, but it doesn't appear like we're going to. Let's pop this off to naval search, get off of training. That all looks fine. Okay. And so let's go back to Banshawing or Bandoang. We do have some troops up here. And we've got a static unit. We also have this 30, the Landstorm Battalion. They can always move out to Batavia as he attacks. Base Force, nothing else going on there. Batavia. So over here at Batavia, you can see, I mean, we've got a lot of aircraft. We've got some aircraft running. searches. I've got some coming straight, kind of almost straight north, up all the way to Singapore. You don't want to be flying there. We're also getting intel from over here on that. And I think this is a general one. I just have this been doing a big wide sweep. We've got a few fighters, but they're hurt. When his carrier task force came through, really wrecked these guys. So we've got 5 fighters on the ground there. We've got 2 operational fighters. Now they've also been running escort out with these guys, but we're going to stop that and let's go up to a 50. We're just going to have them do general naval. There's no planes here. Oh, they're just gone. Wow. I guess they could be reinforced. There's no planes. There's no planes there either. Interesting. Well, I'd like to send the pilots back. Um, huh. Wild. Serviced, unserviced. Okay, we could put this in there, I guess. Yeah, try. It's basically the pilots are going to go in there. Wild. You don't see that often. 2 and 4. This is the other one that's 0 and 0. Sure, let's put it in this one. Well, that consolidates things a bit when you don't have planes in a squadron. We'll get the pilots over here. That's funny. These guys are all on naval attack. Let's take that off. Let's just do naval search. We'll go 50, and we're keeping it close. Naval search. And we're just doing general. I mean, it's got 1 plane and 2 planes. No need for any more suicide runs. Let's actually bump that up to 6,000, and we'll bump that up to 6,000 fighters. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of the Dutch Air Force left. It's pretty much gone. Ships. Well, we've got 2 motor launches here. We've got an AMC here. That's it. We do have 1 ship in port and it's under repair. It's the Bankert is pier side. I was trying to get this float a little better. It's just kind of hanging out here. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to be a destroyer sitting at Batavia. Speaking of which, well, let's go through the ground forces here. We've got a few things. 3rd Indian Corps came in here. I dropped them off at to Jilajap, and now I've moved them around here. So we actually have 751 in combat strength here. I mean, that's going to be a tough road for him. That's a lot of power to have at Batavia. 751, including elements of, as we flip along here, 3rd Indian, some of it motorized. That is the fast Singapore group. I brought them into Jilajap. I just beat this task force here, and now they're up here at Batavia. If we look back at Jilajap, it's just Dutch troops here. So they're up here. I could send part of this down to Surabaya, but I think we'll make our last desperate stand at Batavia. Why not? Let's go for it. Also, let's look at the supply situations. Yeah, Surabaya's got a lot of fuel, which means they can make a lot of supply as well. Um, Now I'm actually tempted to scoot this armored group. What is this? An assault 29. That's 108. Wow, 63. And that's 108. Yeah, that's only a 29. Let's strap move that and let's put it down in Surabaya. Now, ultimately, I could have taken these guys to Darwin, and maybe I should have. But the longer I can make him hang out here in the Dutch East Indies, and it is going to take him a while to take Batavian Surabaya, or it should. We'll see. He's done a really good job so far. This also has Far East Command is here, the ABDA. It's the NIL Army, the Dutch. I forget what KNIL. Somebody told me once. But anyway, it's their overall command. They call their forces out here the KNIL. Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a lot of Dutch stuff here. I think everything's now that's not moving. That's what we're moving to Surabaya. Everything else is combat at target. I've got them at reinforcement and upgrade if they can get it. We want all the good Dutch stuff coming here if it's possible. Let's go to Oosthaven for a second. Now, there's two ships left in port. They're both little AMCs. They're probably not long for this world. I have no troops in Oosthaven. I have played games where I've played Fortress Oosthaven, where I essentially have everything into Oosthaven. Why is that? Well, you're going to crank out a lot of supply out of Palembang because it's got a lot of fuel. But you have the same thing down here in Java, and I'm just decided Batavia is where we'll make our last stand. We could try to get the AMCs out. As a matter of fact, I'm going to, but I'm going to do so for kind of a nefarious purpose. Um, I want to distract his carriers out here. So I'm sending these guys out to die. Let's just have them run straight for the carriers. These are 1 point ships. Um, and every sortie that he's running at two little AMCs, the better. Okay. We've got this submarine that I've kind of, vectored this way. These are American submarines. They're the S class, though. They got the Mark 10. I'm hoping to get a lucky shot. What do we know is out here? Light carriers, light cruisers. That's what we see. We see 70 fighters, 162 bombers. Okay. Um, that's a very powerful force, obviously, and it's his lead in to eventually taking Batavia. Now, what I wanted to show you, so there's not really anything else to do to Deucehaven. We're going to sail that out. Nothing left in port. We've got no troops here. We've got no planes here. Nothing to do. We've got the submarine coming down here. Now, here is another suicide mission. These guys are not, we're never going to make it. They were down here at Christmas Island. When he started heading this way, I just headed them straight for the carriers. Now, some of these have been sunk that were in this group, all right? And then we've also got a ship back at Christmas. These are AMCs, AVPs. I'll leave the AVPs here, and what I'll do instead is do local mine sweep. Again, I'm just going to head them straight for the carriers. And let's do that because they're going to get destroyed probably anyway, but he's going to look for higher value targets for, I say he, the AI is actually going to look for higher value targets. But if I get enough of this, these are all 1 point ships that I'm sending towards him from all directions. Why am I doing it though? Well, I'll show you. If we get over here, I've now broken these two up, but I have got four destroyers here. Now they can't make it all the way back themselves. Somehow I got them out of Batavia and they got past this. Well, they're past it now. These guys were all together. I've now split them because the destroyers obviously have a much higher speed, and I think that they could actually get out. What do I have here? A CM and four Dutch APs. These are all Dutch cargo ships. I'm trying to get them out of here. I sent them with the destroyers once it became evident he had carriers coming down here. They're off and trying to get to Colombo. So I'm splitting those and I'm sending suicide missions at the carriers, hoping that we can get away here. Then I have an AM, a PG, an AKL up here. They're also going to try to get to Colombo. I have a tanker, the Angelina. Now, it's not a good tanker, but it's a tanker nonetheless, and four small cargo ships. I probably would be best to have them go run straight at this thing, but let's not get too crazy. Out here at the Cocos, I think we just have an AVP. We do. It's the Orion. It's a float plane tender, so if we ever wanted to get planes out here, we've got a tender, but it may get destroyed. Now, I don't know how far out here he's going to try to get. What I hope is that he gets distracted and he blows up a bunch of ships, pats himself on the back. He's only gained 10 points and he gets back through here and we get all of this out. We'll see. Palembang, Fortress Palembang. Well, not really. We've got some Kiwi engineers here. We've got a garrison of 136. I've seen less. I've seen a hell of a lot more. Let's turn this to combat at target. Okay, they're set up. I mean, the invasion's going to come eventually. I've left this Space Force at Jambi. I also have more infantry coming down the road to Palembang. I have more infantry coming down the road at Palembang. I'm just going to, I've got all of the industry turned off here. I'm going to let him bomb the absolute living crud out of Palembang, I hope. and then we're just going to sit here in the swamp in Palembang, and eventually they'll surrender. Or I say they, us, will surrender, but we're going to make it as tough as possible. So they're all coming down here. We just have a base force. So really in Sumatra, we've got a base force at Medan. We have three infantry counters at Sabang. I just left them up here. It's very hard to get them all the way down here unless you can get a transport task force up here and take them down. I'm moving out of Padang. Sometimes people make their last stand at Padang. It's all the way across Sumatra, but ultimately I'm just going to go to Palembang here. I did move two base forces out to Sibaret, including the one here. It was still trying to fly missions, but now that's kind of done as the Japanese have air power here. Okay, back over to Borneo. We've got this one force that's out here at Banjarmasin. I was trying to get him out. We lost a lot of very low value transports trying to get him out. They're those crappy Dutch transports. I think they're worth 4 points, but he sunk five of them, so it added up. And now they're just going to sit here. We've got another Dutch sub up here. It's running this kind of patrol zone, but I want to conserve. I'm going to take the patrol zone off. I'm going to go back. I'm going to set this, oops, there we go. I'm going to set this as a text that I want it to be and I'm going to put remain on station. So he's just going to sit here until he runs out of fuel. Anything that goes by, he's going to take a shot at. What do we have here? We have just one submarine, a KXVI. What do we have here? That's a KXV as well. That's got 17. That's 17. Okay, let's put those two together. Let's actually take this. We'll have it meet task force. We'll have them meet that sub, and we'll have them merge. Okay, and I like to run them as wolf packs generally. He's on remain on station. Okay, perfect. That's the one limping home. We already knew that. At Ballypoppin, I've got what? Not much. A little bit. 41. Ballypoppin has some pretty strong coastal guns, generally, I think. These fighters, they're hurt. I am going to try to transfer them over, but we can't. I want to put them in Ballypoppin. I say them. There's only one. I want to put it in Ballypoppin. This force is the one that got kicked out of Tarakan. Now he's sitting out. Oh, it's just the coastal gun. How did they move this big ass gun when they retreated? Well, that'll be destroyed soon enough. Nothing we can do about that. We have base forces on the run in northern Borneo, whether it be Sarawak, Brunei. This was kicked out of Jesselton. This one's been retreating forever. It's trying to get back here to Ketapang. Sure, go for it, buddy. I hope he makes it. Um, Okay, I mean, that's kind of the whole situation out here. Let's look a little bit west. We've got the Hobart, which is steaming its way to Australia. It's an Australian light cruiser, I believe. It's light cruiser, right? Yeah, it is. And then we've got some of the Dutch stuff that I did get out of here. Little AKLs heading north, trying to get to Colombo. They fled the conflagration that is Java. This is a nice group that I got out. I got a light cruiser, a destroyer, a couple of APs, but they're running out of fuel. So I'm going to have them merge up with these guys, which includes a destroyer, an AP, an AK, and AKL. They're going to merge up and they're all heading to Colombo. That's more that I got out of uh, the Dutch East Indies. So up they go. Okay. I also have this destroyer group, but they're out of fuel. I had them on full speed to get them out of here, and so they're limping their ass this way. I'm going to have something. I mean, I have them going towards Diego Garcia, but I'm going to have something go pick them up because they just don't have any fuel. Okay, that's an easy way to say it. They don't have any fuel. I do have the KV Cycleman. That has got to get back in here. It's also out of fuel. It got some fuel from this task force, and now it's headed up here. Um, so that's all of that really in Borneo. I mean, there's just nothing to do here. If we flip over to the Philippines, I've got troops in Davao. They're got very little to no supply. The Japanese have landed here. I've got these other troops heading over here to Kagayan. Kagayan's got a lot of strength. It doesn't have enough supply really to do anything with it. If we look around here, a lot of this stuff just doesn't have supply. That's got 418, 500. None of these have supply. All of these bases are almost starved out. I was not able to send extra task forces up here to do anything about this, so they're eventually just going to give up. I mean, they'll be a complete paper tiger when that happens. Puerto Princesa, we have a little bit of supply, just a base force. These are PT boats. It's all the PT boats out of Manila, but there's really no place to take them. I mean, I could bring them here. It's got a little bit of fuel, but ultimately, what's the point? I mean, I could try to skip them around. Sure, why not? Let's just do it. No reason to just give up, guys. What a harrowing journey this would be. Oh, they're out of, yeah, that doesn't work actually, because they just don't even have enough fuel to get there. Let's just put it right back in Puerto Princesa. Okay, well, they're going to sit there. Not a whole lot we can do about it. Up in the Philippines, he's taken most of everything south of Manila. He's sitting in Manila or in the province and, combat, defend at target. Um, we've got 261 in the garrison. I mean, he's probably going to take that this turn. He's just got a stronger force out here. He's got 63,000 men, so I don't think we're going to hold that off. This unit's been trying to get back here forever. He keeps getting bombed and otherwise. This is the 3rd 12th Filipino Infantry Battalion, so it's part of the 12th Filipino Infantry Battalion, just 1/3 of it. It's trying to get back to Manila, but ultimately, why? Um, okay, over at Clark Field, we have a really strong force here. We only got 7,000 in supply. We do have a garrison of 757. They're all combat defend at target. We're just going to sit here. I mean, if he wants to attack us, I mean, okay, we've got. I took off build fortifications. Once it hit 3, I didn't want to use up the supply to build the fortifications. 3 is going to have to be good enough, and we're going to duke this out. Hopefully, we bloody his nose there. We've got quite a bit back here at Bataan, all kinds of stuff. That adds up to 448. They have very low supply. All on combat defend at target. I can actually put him at Bataan. Not that's not going to really matter, but we're going to hopefully slow him down here a little bit. I mean, he's got to attack. He's probably going to take Manila this turn, but it'll take a little while for Clarkfield and Bataan both, because that group out of Clarkfield will fall back there. Now, I'm sure he just wants to starve us out, but we'll see what he does. At Vigan, we've got still got this one unit. It has gotten the absolute bejesus blown out of it. But it's still standing. I'm still standing. Okay, well, he's going to have to turn around and take that at some point. But the Philippines is lost, obviously. I mean, you're just not going to hold that against any kind of competent Japanese player. So we've been through Java, Sumatra. That leaves Singapore. In Singapore, get this, I have no fighters left up here. So we're going to transfer this down to Batavia, the torpedo bomber. May as well. It's only one. We'll put it down there on naval attack. Sure. We've got recon just running around up here. Why not? I want to know what's going on, so we'll just watch the action. We'll take the arc off. So, who knows what we may see with that. When it comes to the Army out here, we've got everything on combat, defend at target. We have a garrison of 582. Many times you'll have much bigger than that, but he's done a great job of bombing everything that's running back here. Now, he's got a huge amount of forces, 37,000 men. If you look at what we have in Singapore, we've got 6,300 in infantry. We've got about 40,000 men, but 6,300 of that fighting men. Got a lot of guns, a lot of vehicles. We got 42,000 in supply and a lot of fuel to keep cranking out supply. So we'll see. We're just going to sit there. He's going to bomb the living crud out of us. Usually you would have more cap over Singapore, but it just didn't work out that way this time. We have these units that have been getting bombed like crazy. They're still trying to get back here. I'd like to think that they tied him up a little bit. Is that true? I don't know. But they're still fighting to get back. Um, I think I'm going to call that an episode because I want to talk about China and India together. It kind of works hand in hand. So this one's going to be a little shorter, but a couple more to go. We'll go all through China and we'll go all through India, and we'll talk about what's important. When it comes down to this, you're trying to hold Singapore, you're trying to hold Palembang, Batavia, Surabaya, and then ultimately, usually you try to hold Koapang, Darwin, Port Moresby. We'll see if we can hold any of the three. Koapang doesn't really even have a defense. We got quite a bit coming to Darwin, and I could even maybe if he gets off of the west side of Java, I could take those 3rd Indian Corps and even put them down in Darwin if we wanted to. The problem is we can't get supply up to Darwin if he gets his carriers here. There's nothing we can do about it. Same with Port Moresby, which is getting, you know, really low on supply. That's why I like to try to get like 50,000 in supply up to Port Moresby early, but he got down here very fast. He's got carriers there. He's got a task force there. He's got at least 2 carrier escorts moving up this way. I would suspect he's got a carrier or 2 in that. He's got a task force right off Rabaul. So when we come back, we're going to talk about China, where he took Nanyang this last turn. And that's really put me in a quandary. I am not exactly sure what to do about it. So when we come back, we'll talk about that. This has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Thanks so much. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.